Hi Warhammer 40k fans, this is Adam from the Space Wolves blog with more Space Hulk tactics. This time we'll be going through the different Spaceman characters and explaining their strengths, their weaknesses and how to get the best results from them. Part 1. Basic Space Marines. Often referred to as scrubs, grunts or plebs, the basic Space Marine Terminator forms the core of any squad, so you'll need to use them effectively to complete your mission. They're terrible in close combat, so make sure you keep them shooting. Often you'll have to leave your basic Space Marines to hold a strategic point. This could be looking down a corridor to prevent gene stealers from entering the table, or holding a room. It's best for Space Marines to work in pairs, which then allows them to cover different angles out of rooms while providing a crossfire if one of them gets jumped by a gene stealer. Just make sure that you maintain a reasonable distance and put your faith in going on Overwatch. Part 2. Chainfist Space Marine. Essentially the same as the regular Space Marine scrub, Super Scrub, as we like to call him, can automatically destroy doors in close combat. This makes him vital in some missions, but a bit pointless in others. But when it costs an action point to open a door, you may as well assault it with this guy if you want it to stay open. After all, there's nothing more annoying than a gene stealer sitting there and playing with the door switch. Part 3. Space Marine Sergeant. Essentially a scrub with a sword. He may look important, but he's not that hot. His sword gives him +1 in close combat, but sadly he's still going to die screaming. However, as a sergeant he allows you to reroll your command points, so make sure you keep him alive, because command points can make it or break a game. That said, with all his bling, he also seems to be an irresistible target for the gene stealers, which makes him great if you need a piece of bait. Part 4. Heavy Flamer. The undisputed king of Space Hulk, the Heavy Flamer can cleanse whole rooms and drive back hordes of gene stealers. Just remember to use those 6 shots sparingly, because once you start firing, you never seem to stop. However, the Flamer's greatest strength is being able to seal off sections of the board, holding back the tide of gene stealers and allowing you to complete your mission. Right, so this is the current situation. The objective is behind that door. There's the librarian poised to run across the corridor without getting jumped by gene stealers hopefully, and there's the Heavy Flamer in place. It's the Space Marine turn, and the librarian's going to go first. I'll quickly roll for his command points just in case I'm a bit short. 2, I'm going to re-roll because the sergeant alive still. 6, I'll take those. Right, so librarian's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Use a command point to open the door, which goes down to 5. Move forward. Move forward again, goes down to 3. Pick up chalice. 1, 2, and then 1. So he's used all of his command points. Meanwhile, he can move. I don't need to really move. I'll move him back 2 because I can, and I'm going to fire the Flamer into the corridor using these other 2 points. Right, it's now the gene stealer's turn, and the gene stealer can't do anything unless he wants to dash through the flames, which is completely pointless. So it's back to the Space Marine player's turn. That comes away. It's librarians go. Roll for command points again. 1, going to re-roll that. I'll take the 4. So the librarian's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Takes that with him. Use command point to go there. Meanwhile, Heavy Flamer guy here is going to seal the tunnel again with another shot. Therefore, all these guys can't get in. He's going to use his 2 action points to turn round. He's got 3 action points left. 1, 2. Use another command point. And then in the subsequent phases, the Space Marines can start running back to their exit point, leaving the gene stealers behind them. Part 5. Lightning Claw Space Marine. Everyone loves this guy, but I have no idea why. He's okay in close combat, but only if he goes on guard. So charging in like Wolverine isn't going to end well for him. Instead, I'd always leave him to hold a doorway or a corridor whilst on guard, and he tends to perform pretty well in that capacity, although because he doesn't have the same benefits of the Thunderhammer Stormshield Sergeant, he does eventually get killed. Part 6. Thunderhammer and Stormshield Sergeant. When I first read that he'd been included in this edition of Space Hulk, I thought he was a bit overpowered, and he is. He gets +2 to his combat result, reduces gene stealer's attack dice by 1 because of his shield, providing he's facing the right way, and generally batters whatever he comes across. The best practice for him is to stick him in a doorway or corridor and leave him on guard. That way he's almost immovable, but just make sure that no gene stealers can attack him from the side or behind, and he'll be perfectly fine. Although I will confess that in Mission 2 I have charged him down corridors screaming for the Emperor and smashing gene stealers round the face. Part 7. The Space Marine Librarian. Now this guy's a one-man army, and it's all thanks to his psychic powers, or side points. Stat wise, he's the same as the basic sergeant, although really he needs the sergeant's command points reroll special rule in order to be as effective as possible. The librarian starts off with 20 side points and has 4 psychic powers. First of all is Force Axe, which allows him to boost his close combat roll by +1 for each side point used, making him virtually unbeatable in assault, until he runs out of side points of course. The second one is Force Barrier, which prevents movement for a single square within 12, and when combined with Heavy Flamer, the pair can seal off large sections of the board and keep the Genestealers at bay. The third is Prescience, which allows you to move the command point marker back 1 space, which is very handy of course when you're short on command points. Finally you've got Psychic Storm, which has a range of 6, it hits the intended target on 2+, and any others on a 4+. It's not bad, but it's not quite as reliable as the Flamer. The Librarian can only cast 1 psychic power per turn, which is just as well, because once you start using side points you don't seem to stop. There's a real lot to using the Librarian, and when you combine him with a Heavy Flamer Space Marine, the pair can cleanse huge areas and lead a very aggressive assault, which is essential in some of the mid-level missions. Finally, Part 8. The Assault Cannon Space Marine. Like a Stormbolter on steroids, the Assault Cannon fires 3 shots per volley and kills Genestealers with great ease. But once it starts firing, expect the ammo counter to plummet dramatically. Things tend to get scary once you slap in the spare magazine, although the gun has never exploded on me. Yet. Just try not to rinse all the ammo too quickly. Ideally, the assault cannon should be used as a backup weapon for anything that gets past your Stormbolters, although it is very tempting to stick it at the end of a long corridor and just spray away, killing thousands of Genestealers until eventually you run out of ammo. And a Genestealer player will try and get you to do that, because then all they've got to do is get past your Stormbolters, not this great big chugging minigun. Hopefully that's given you a good idea on how to get the very best out of all of your Space Marines in the game of Space Hulk. Stay tuned for the next video, which will be a set of mission tutorials and quick guides on how to quickly run through the game.